I discovered 4 insights about Malaysians in traffic while navigating through traffic myself. And today I will be sharing those insights with you. I, like you, often find myself navigating through traffic jams in Kuala Lumpur, biting my steering wheel in frustration while crawling up imaginary walls, as nothing in front of me seemed to move. Being stuck in traffic is such a waste of time. We yearn to be at home with our loved ones, relaxing, while instead you're stuck behind a sea of taillights, feeling impatient, stressed, and increasingly frustrated. But one day, as I got stuck in a massive traffic jam, I looked around into different cars and suddenly something struck me. I stumbled about some fascinating insights into the Malaysian psyche. Insights not everyone is aware of. So stick around as I'm going to share these 4 insights with you about traffic in Malaysia. And hopefully you smile along with me as I do that. Just like many of you, I suffer through the daily gridlock in beautiful Kuala Lumpur. My office is about 10 kilometers away from my home. On a good day, without traffic, it takes me about 15 minutes to reach it. Now you can imagine those good days are rare in between in the meantime. Because on bad days, with the rain, thunderstorms and rush hours, it can take me up to 2 hours to reach home. 2 hours! You can label it a nightmare come true, right? It's hard and it's tough. Now Kuala Lumpur is home to 8.4 million people, and many of you drive your car to work. Traffic is dense, it's chaotic. Even so, the government is widening the roads, building new roads, and the most amazing structural architecture expands public transport. Traffic is most likely getting worse in the years to come. Cars are everywhere, flooding the roads. It wasn't always like that. Some of you might remember different times. Centuries ago, I picked up my sister-in-law from Sunway University about 16 kilometers away from my home. Sometimes I forgot the time and I rushed into the car driving off to pick her up. Her lectures at university finished at about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And even during rush hours, it never took me longer to get to her place than 20 minutes. 20 minutes. There was a time when I drove from Mid-Valley City in the direction of Seremban, and initially it felt like I'm the only car on the road. But I know taking the road, the highway nowadays, traffic is in a gridlock. Heck, I remember years ago when I came back from Jakarta to Kuala Lumpur and the taxi driver in Kuala Lumpur complained about traffic jams in Kuala Lumpur. And there were about 10 cars lining up somewhere. That was labeled a traffic jam back in the days. Parking is another thing. Malaysian drivers are really good to drop off their cars anywhere, the tiniest space. No considerations apparently for pedestrians walking there. No one says anything. Double parking is a common feature. Car owners just stop their car, switch off the engine, go off doing their thing, hanging out in the next mamak stall, and it seems they don't care about the impact that double parked car has on the remaining traffic. I have been a victim of double parking. All of you have been a victim of double parking. And if you are lucky, the driver who double parks you leaves their contact details on the dashboard. I was not in luck. So I had to wait, and I patiently, initially, start honking and honking and honking. Of course, nothing happened. So I paced up and down the road, waiting for that driver to come, going into the mamak stalls next to the double parked car, asking for the driver. Nowhere to be found. So I had to wait and wait and wait, hoping and praying that the driver would finally turn up. Patience running thin. In Germany, we would have thought about calling the police, tow that car away, carrying it away like a Hulk to the other side of the road. Thoughts rolling through my mind, how can he or she do that? But my Malaysian friends just smiled and said, it's okay, he will come. Of course, that didn't help me much in that moment until the miracle happens. The driver turned up, smiled, waved his hand, sorry being said, opened the car door, drove off, a little bit waited for me to reverse the car out of my parking spot, then ultimately after I left to pull in and take my parking spot. Would you call it disrespect? Or there's something else that could be at play here? Driving styles. Now there are situations, of course, where traffic is dense but still moves somewhat freely. So I'm driving my car and suddenly I see a car indicator on, clearly having the intention to turn into a junction just a few meters away. Hand is coming out, waving, and is moving all across those lanes. And nothing happens. Drivers in Malaysia love to keep the engine running, and I get it. The statement is it's hot. Gotta get the engine running because inside the car it's cool. In Germany, if I were to keep my engine running, people would come up to me and demand from me to switch off the engine. Cars are designed to switch themselves off, even at a traffic light instantly, and start again once you put the foot on the accelerator. And letting the engine running is an expensive exercise. I understand the saying it's too hot outside and we need to cool down ourselves inside the car. But the German inside of me is rebelling against that. Let me share with you my insights. Something I learned as a German and as a foreigner living in this beautiful country, Malaysia. Now, I'm not saying that Malaysians enjoy being stuck in traffic. Of course not. It is the Malaysian patience that I want to point out here and that I have come to appreciate. They know traffic is something that cannot be changed overnight. That car which tries to move all across the lanes, it's about cooperation. Hey, he needs to go home as well. Let that person pass. Make it happen. I just have to slow down my car. Let's be patient. Allow that person to move. It's the same when cars cut in front of you. Nobody likes it. But why shall I fight my way against a car who's cutting in front of me? All that would happen is I come home one car later. The next thing that comes to mind after patience is the Malaysian sense of tolerance. Malaysians are tolerant. They might not like that someone is cutting in front of them, or that their car is parked in, or that they get stuck in traffic. No one likes it. It's the tolerance, it's the attitude. I can't do anything about this. Let's be tolerant. There must have been a reason for that person to cut in, for that person to double park the car. As long as no one gets hurt, I am absolutely okay. And the smiles, I'm back to the beautiful Malaysian smiles. Let me tell you a story. We recently waited at a traffic light, and the moment it turned green, I wanted to drive off when suddenly that one motorcycle came in front of me, crossing the street. It was a father together with his wife and two kids on the motorcycle, which, by the way, is a different story altogether. So 4 people on the bike. If I would have accelerated quickly, I would have hit him. You know what happened? He smiled. He raised his hand. He said sorry. And off he went. Of course, I smiled back and I was happy nothing happened. Why let the engine run? Maybe it's because I care for that person who comes to enter the car in a few minutes and I want to make them feel comfortable. Maybe I don't feel good when I'm sweating away in a car which is too hot. And the 4th point, I kind of indicated it already, is a point it's going to be okay. Yes, I have to wait. Yes, there is a traffic jam. Yes, my car is blocked in, but I don't have control over the situation. But all is going to be okay. I'm going to reach home sooner or later. I'm going to spend time with my family and that's okay. Everything's going to be all right. The question, of course, is, do I ignore the bullies? Do I tolerate road rage? No, I don't. I know there are bullies. I know the saying goes that Malaysians, once entering a car, turn into monsters and are different in a car in contrast to their normal way of acting. I'm aware of the incidences that have gone viral on Facebook, on TikTok, how somebody rages and becomes violent. It's terrible. But in relation to how many times it happens, in relation to how dense traffic really is, I would say the time somebody is a bully is a very tiny, minute percentage. The person who's raging, the bully on the road, is not representing Malaysians. It's an individual person. It's one person who lost it. I believe these are individual cases where people experience anger. The situation they're in is just the last straw that breaks the camel's back, and they just turn into someone who they were not before. It's looking at the individual and not about judging a country or all the drivers just because of this. Do I feel disrespected when somebody parks me in? Can I get upset? Of course I can get upset. Of course I can grow impatient being stuck in traffic. Can I change the situation? Of course I cannot change the situation. But how do I react to this situation is my choice. I learned it as a German. It's a good topic to talk about. It's used as an excuse. Take it with a smile. And nowadays, when I'm stuck in traffic, well, I take it as an opportunity to turn my car into a university, as an opportunity to have a good conversation with my wife, or I'm listening to the radio, or I'm listening to a podcast. I can learn something. I can enjoy not doing anything, just sitting there. The hustle and the bustle of day-to-day life will come back anyway. But being in the car, I can't do anything. So I can relax while being in the traffic. That is a way of how I cope nowadays with traffic situations. How Malaysia has taught me to cope with a situation that I cannot change. Now, how about you? How do you cope with the traffic in Malaysia? Any tips that you would like to share? Share it in the comments now. And if you liked the video, share it with others, subscribe to my channel, click the notification button. And until the next video, terima kasih, jumpa lagi, and bye bye.